How many trillions will India make or lose by 2015? In the next 30 years, how many amount of money in terms of trillions will India make or lose by 2015? Based on the future of economic growth, the prospect of India's economy, the effect of digital economy, and we can may predict some assumption that India will reach to some extent in hundreds of years back. India had the largest GDP in the world, and China was at number second position. Then the Industrial Revolution happened. Europe, America, and Japan raced way ahead and became the largest economies of the world. These rules till the 2000, the 20th centuries, and 2010 was the China's decade. But things have rapidly changed in this pandemic era. And can the 2020s and the next decade see India's rise, and 2030 will be ours? We can dominate the world economy. Europe, US, and Japan have somehow derailed with this race competition of this economic journey, and if China could have ruled till the 2030 at least, but domestic demand has declined. There is a housing crisis. By 2030, it will no longer have the world's largest working population. That honor will go to India particularly. In fact, China will have a sort of inverted pyramid structure and have the most senior citizens as a percentage of total citizen in the country, and one of the biggest skew in the history thanks to their one child policy. The post pandemic, the world has a serious trust issues with China and its Asian countries like India, Vietnam, and Bangladesh, along with some African nation, will see the greatest growth in the next few decades. Which will be the largest economies in the world in 2050? Most say China. As a few say India. Most put India as number 2 position, and some even at number 3. And so, which will be the exact position for the country like India with the mass population of 1.4 billion people? The contribution depends on this 1.4 billion people. They have the responsibility on their shoulder to maintain the economic growth, the journey of this economic prospect, and to be ruled the South Asian nation, not only the South Asian but also the global economy. And the digital economy also play a very crucial role, and India's ability to integrate the technology in the most critical sector will decide the future position in the economic domain. And the biggest setback remains the low adoption of the agricultural technological integration, which is called in another term as agri-tech industries. We are still a predominantly a rural economy based on the agricultural economy as the primary sector of this country, but the return on investment that the farmer gets for the effort they put in this particular particular sector is very less. In developed countries, the fraction of farmers give a far bigger output. They are contribute much more in their economies. The respected countries, and the agricultural reforms without this agri-tech will be meaningless. Another lagging area is R&D and the patents. The education and research institutes still have a long way to go before we can be a world beaters. We got it right in the startup scenes in 2021. The government is coming out with a correct scheme related to this electronics, semiconductors, software and hardware industry, but our ability to implement all the emerging technologies in each and every industry and the sector will be the key differences between being the number 1 in the world and reclaiming the country's old and very historic predefined status and being a number 3. The difference between the two will be a trillions of dollars in terms of nominal values. The pandemic era has forced the accelerations upon the India and the world, and the key for our GDP to enter the fast track of growth will depends on whether we can keep the momentum going in the future. To start a business, to enter into a brave industry, to create those industry within some predominant and strong field and the focus that the future is inevitable, and but it is already here speed up by the pandemic. While going high tech was usually an option, now it is no longer so, becoming a part of the very DNA of the business and the economy of the world. Look at the complete global infrastructures and the global transformation that we are entering into. It's been highly demanding, highly transformative, and those transformation in this economic sector and the ecosystem with this digital field, digital arena that will work, and we will live with this a new way of. Today we live in a world where millions of data millions of data centers that are used by billions of devices to transfer trillions of GBs of data each and every day. For the common man, the cloud is a device plus a bandwidth. For a techie, it is more complicated than that, and there is a lot of software and hardware that behind the scenes that keeps everything running. Cloud is a very complicated computing model that has to be fine-tuned all the time. We live in a world that billions of data centers are used by billions of devices, obviously, to transfer the trillions of GBs of data each and every day. The hyper-digitalizations, and complete digital transformation is all happening around the world. That means it's the paperless office we have been hearing about for a decade, and is finally here. In the corporate office, we have already shifted to the electronic transmission for everything and high-end collaboration tools that will ensure that it remains as it is and will work and will continue in the future. The key digital data was scanned or converted from its office and offline form, the latter which was never disposed of. Alternatively, the digital data was duplicated in the offline world and sometimes even came in the many more forms. Now data is being collected digitally with no paper involved, and online banking and the mobile money is further reducing the paper cost, the hazardness of papers, and also it creates the simplicity of the operations and some office work, some tasks. The biggest effect it will be on real estate and urban planning. The home will become a more important and will double up as the office. It will have a more luxurious, as many will spend all their time, and office pieces will get lesser importance, especially a large one. A smart home will also be a luxury but a necessity. Everyone will be free to move to the suburban areas or the B-grade town. That spending power of the town will go up and is flooded by the professional experts, and business continuity planning was another option for the contemplated by the many companies, but it is now being traded by the fabric of business entities. The biggest source for the government to get the office computerized, digitalized, and e-governance that expanding day by day, and organization all deal with these companies, citizens and those dealing with some paperwork and many documents related to this identification. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.